Final Four worthy? Are the Cowboys on the right track? Is the Thunder playing its way out of the Blake Griffin Derby? And are the Arizona Cardinals about to win their way out of obscurity? From the Dodge Sports Desk, I'm Mike Sherman, and this is the Press Row. My guest today, our columnist Barry Trammell, who says, don't make Final Four reservations for the OU men just yet. Columnist John Rohde, who wonders if he's the only person who rebounds worse than the Oklahoma State basketball team. And columnist Jenny Carlson, who wonders which shade of blue Blake Griffin will look better in, Memphis, Washington, or Thunder blue. Jenny, let's start with you. The Oklahoma City Thunder won a big game last night in the lottery world that they live in. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies. It's a battle of two teams that have been spending this season collecting more ping pong balls than wins. But the Thunder 7-6 in January. They're red hot on the court, but going stone cold in the lottery standings. Is this a good or a bad thing?
Well, I think it kind of depends if you're a fan with season tickets for this year or if you're maybe waiting until next year and hoping for the lottery. I think it's a good thing. They're not going to not be in the lottery. They're still going to have a chance to get a great pick in the draft. They've got 3 in the first round. So they're going to get 3 really nice players. Are they going to get the top guy? I don't know. I mean, every year with the ping pong balls, weird things happen. I mean, teams that aren't necessarily mathematically the favorites to get the ping pong balls have sometimes jumped up and got that first pick. So I think it's a good sign to see these guys playing better. You don't want to go through a whole season and lose and lose and lose. That really sets up a bad mentality, especially for guys that have been there for a while and struggled the way they did last year. So I think it's positive that they're playing well. And then I think you just have to roll the dice or spin the ping pong balls, as it were, when the lottery rolls around.
Well, here's why it's a good thing. Since 1985 and the lottery began, only 4 times has the team with the worst record gotten the number 1 pick. Those aren't good odds. The odds are always against you. You can increase your odds, but they're always against you. And here's the best thing about the Thunder. They got 3 first-round draft picks. If they don't get the number 1 pick, they can forfeit 1 or 2 of those to get the first-round pick. Right now, it's all about winning right now, Barry.
I would agree, because the last thing you want to do with this young base, Westbrook, Durant, Green, is let them develop losing habits and a losing mentality. Then if you do that, the lottery doesn't matter. You're starting from the wrong way. Now, John's right, though. Just because you don't win the lottery, if you're 4th or 5th, wherever they might end up, one reason Sam Presti has accumulated all these picks is to give him flexibility. There are some teams, not every team, but there are some teams in the NBA that would be willing to trade down if it means more first-round picks, because they value first-round picks. So just because the lottery balls don't go Oklahoma City's way in April doesn't mean that they still can't trade up.
Okay, but Blake Griffin is sort of the it player right now. In your minds, is he clearly the number 1 player in next year's draft if he does come out?
I don't know who's second. That's how good he is as far as being first. You watch Hansbrough last night, and he's a nice player and he tries hard, but he's a late first-rounder. Yeah, I mean, the more and more OU plays, the more and more people believe in Blake. He has become the watch guy. He has been the darling of SportsCenter this whole year.
I think if he was in the league right now, I think he'd be having a heck of a rookie year. I mean, I think he's that talented, and I agree with John. I don't know who his competition is in this draft. Is he as good maybe as last year's top guys, as Derrick Rose or those type of guys? I don't know. He doesn't sort of have the big wow factor to him, but I think he's going to be a really great NBA player for a long time. He strikes me as a guy that's going to spend a lot of years in the league and be a really, really solid player for whatever team he's on.
He'll probably be the number 1 pick, but depending on which team it is, he could fall to a 2. Let's say a team needs a point guard. Let's say they're pretty good inside and they need a point guard. Then maybe they go for Ricky Rubio or one of the international guys that come on the scene and that don't really get much pub during the college basketball season, but that the scouts are all looking at. He probably will be number 1. More teams would rather have Blake Griffin than not. But you have to wait and see how it shakes down.
Do you really think, though, that teams in the NBA are going to want extra first-round draft picks in this draft in exchange for Blake Griffin? I mean, I can see where a team like the Washington Wizards maybe that doesn't have a pure point guard, that has had to play with Gilbert Arenas as point guard when he's healthy, would be attracted to Ricky Rubio, and then maybe you could strike a deal with them, giving them some more picks. But really, 2 more. You said young players can develop. You want to shovel more young players onto a losing situation, which is what you're in if you're in the lottery. Do you think those 3 first-round draft picks really make that big a difference? Really give them leverage to move up?
I'm just saying, in the last 2 years, what has it been? It's been either Durant or Oden, and it's been either Rose or Beasley. Mm-hmm. It's Griffin or Griffin this year, and it's a position that people always seem to be in need of, a power forward position. The post position is gone. If Blake were 7'3", it'd be even more convincing. But the power position is one that I think every team needs.
Last question about this team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. How badly does the Thunder need a player like Blake Griffin?
I mean, I think you can always use more talent. I think we've seen I think another thing about them winning, that it's good that they're starting to see what this team is about. You know, who does what and when they're clutch and those sorts of things. So they're starting to be able to now look and see, how would Blake Griffin fit into this team? You know, I think he'd be a good add. I don't know if they're going to get a chance to get him, but he's a guy that plays hard. He gets rebounds. I mean, he does a lot of things, and he scores it really well. We haven't even, I don't think, seen all of the offensive skill set that he probably even has. I think he would fit in well, and I think as they continue to play, we're going to get an even better idea of just how he would fit with this group.
It's a problem, though, because Jeff Green's the power forward right now.
Well, I bet he won't be. Jeff Green will go back to small forward and Durant back to shooting guard, unless they sign a shooting guard and make Jeff Green the best 6th man or second best 6th man in the league, which is sort of what my plan would be. Now, if you get a chance at Blake Griffin in your Oklahoma City, you use him because he does a lot of things. For one, the center of your future is Kristich, who's center of the present too. But you know, he likes on offense. He likes to sort of circle and play outside and shoot the 17-footer. You know, Blake go in and actually probably be the center on offense if he's matched up with Kristich. So I think he's a solid. And another thing, the Thunder wants to get out and run. Westbrook's good in the open court. Blake Griffin's tailor-made for the running game. Blake Griffin would get half his points as a rookie on fast breaks.
Moving on to the Oklahoma State Cowboys. John, they're playing a faster, more up-tempo brand of basketball. They're playing exciting games. But where's the love for the Cowboys?
Well, first of all, last Monday was a horrible day, and I give credit to the 10,500 who showed. That really impressed me, and it was a smart idea to let the students in free and then expand it to the whole town. So I give it up to them. You know, here's the thing. I defer to Coach Ford. He knows his team. He goes, we can beat anybody and we can lose to anybody. And they're in between, and they got to find themselves. But they were right there all game long against OU. They refused to go away. They had a chance to take the lead a couple of times. But when you live on the outside, like they do, you die on the inside, and that's what happened. They lost because of who they are.
Are they a good basketball team? Can they be a good basketball team?
They're okay. They're nothing special. I mean, they're just no, they can't. And they can't be much better than they are. I mean, they've got veterans who are playing the way they play, and they're not going to get any bigger. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect a lot of improvement. They're just going to have to scratch and try to win some games, and probably not going to win enough to make the NCAA tournament.
They're going to have to scratch and claw for every win they get. I mean, all these close games, that is a huge testament to these guys. The fact that they've been able to stay in games, come back in games. I mean, with the deficit they're facing in the post, every time out, doesn't matter if it really doesn't matter who it is that they're trotting out in the post. It seems like OSU is going to be behind the 8 ball when it comes to the post. To be in as many games as they've been in the Big 12 already, despite how good or bad the Big 12 may be, I just think it's a testament to these guys, and you have to wonder how long will they be able to keep up that mentality of hanging in there when it's going to be really hard to get W's in the end against a lot of teams in the Big 12 for them.
I wonder how much of it rides on whether James Anderson can be a star and whether he is a star in the making. What do you see out of him, John?
I see a lot of things. And here's the thing. Obi Manello popped off the other day, but he backed it up, and he brought up a good point. There are a lot of matchup problems for opponents against OSU, but there's one huge matchup problem for OSU against opponents. They got no guy in the middle. And Malcolm Kirkland, the middleweight out of wherever he's from, him and Andrea Riley ought to go at it. I'm telling you what, there's no place for that in the game, and I applaud Travis Ford for sitting him down. But they do have matchup problems, but their biggest matchup problem is what bit them the other night, and that's the inside position. And you're going against Blake Griffin, Barry. Forget about it.
Yeah, they had no hope there. But you're right, John. Obi did back it up, and I thought Obi was right what he said in that he basically said, you know what? He said they're going to have as much trouble guarding me as I am guarding whoever I have to guard. Taylor Griffin really can't guard Obi Manella. I mean, Obi's a tough inside, driving guy, but he can also make three-pointers with regularity. Oklahoma State's got an excellent base. They just don't have the big guy. You gotta have something in the middle.
But your question about James Anderson, I think he can be really good. I think he is gonna. I think we're gonna see him benefit as they do get some post presence in there. You've seen him improve steadily this year, which we didn't see last year. He started out so hot, and then teams started to figure out, oh, this is this guy's game. And he never improved after that. Big 12 play was just a struggle for him. So to see him have the go that he's had this year and show that constant improvement, I think he's on a steady rise to maybe not be a superstar type of guy, to be a really nice player for them for a while.
Andrew Cohen was saying the other day, last year he was so introverted. This year he's coming out a little bit, and it coincides with his play. So maybe by the time he's junior and a senior, he could really be a force like you're talking about.
He had 15 points in 24 minutes against OU. So, I mean, he can play. He's good.
It's interesting. You guys talked about the matchup and they have a matchup problem on defense, but they create problems on offense. And really good coaches, Don Nelson made an NBA career out of doing this, saying, yeah, I can't play defense, but I'm going to cause havoc on you when you try to guard me. And he made that into a playoff team. Around the table, are the Cowboys capable of doing that and making the NCAA tournament? Barry, you say no.
They're capable, but they're not going to. I mean, I don't see it.
Jenny?
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for them. I mean, the margin for error is so slim for them in every game. It's going to be tough. I still think they are mathematically in it when you look at the games and what they need to do. But again, just with a slim margin for error, I can't quite see it happening this year for them.
Each passing week, OU, Kansas, and Texas are starting to pull away. But if OSU can somehow overtake Baylor and Missouri, they're right there. And they're not out of it right now. But each game's important. They got it. They can't lose at home again.
Let's see it.